Well, hey there, fabulous authors. Welcome to episode 17 of RTTV. I am so excited that you have joined us today because we have a lesson that is so time relevant to you right now that this is going to change the entire way that you do what you are going to be doing in the next month or so. So, here's what I want to talk about today. We are going to be diving in to, you know what? No. Hey there, fabulous authors. Welcome to episode 17 of RTTV. I'm so excited that you're here today because we are going to be talking about something that is so time relevant to you that this is going to change the way that you are doing things for the next month or so. And I want to talk to you today about planning for next year. So we know it is the end of 2016. We are jumping into 2017. And today on RTTV, I want to discuss how you can go about getting ready for the new year. So let's go ahead and dive in.
Welcome to RTTV, brought to you by Reading Transforms, with your host, K.M. Robinson of K.M. Robinson Photography and Reading Transforms. If you look to the right of your screen, you will note a chat box. We encourage you to ask questions and comment throughout the show. Our moderators will be watching the feed and collecting questions for our hosts to answer during the end of the broadcast. Use the red question mark tab to differentiate your questions from your comments in the feed. If you are a member of our Facebook community and our weekly newsletter, your notes will be emailed to you shortly. Make sure that you are active this week in our Facebook community for deeper insights into how to apply this into your marketing strategy and for ongoing support. Welcome to the weekly live broadcast that will revolutionize your author branding, book marketing, and social media marketing strategies.
Well, here we are at the end of November of 2016. It is about to turn into December. We're about to go into the Christmas celebration. And I want to talk to you today about preparing for 2017. So with only a month left, you know we've got about a month to be working on everything that you need for 2017. And you know, as an author, your author brand is your business. And if you do not take care of your business and you do not plan for it, you do not strategize for it, and you do not put the effort into your business, it's going to fail. Meaning your author brand is not going to succeed. It won't grow. You won't get new fans. You won't establish those engaging conversations with them. And it just will not work for you. Now, as an author, your goal is to make money from the stories that you are writing and you are putting out into the world. And you cannot do that without a plan. So today, I want to get really deep and talk to you about how to do this for your own author brand. Now, there are 6 things I'm going to be going over today, and then I have a very special opportunity for you that's going to go a little bit deeper. So stick with me. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. I'm going to keep this a short episode because that thing at the end is going to make all the difference, and that requires a little bit more time outside of this episode. So I want to keep today's episode kind of short. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is your plan for 2017. Now remember, we are getting everything ready so that you have a basic outline. You kind of know what you're doing for 2017, and then you can tweak as you go. So what we're doing today is not everything for 2017. You do not have to write it now and be done with it. This is flexible. This is something that's going to change as your year goes on. But this is our starting point. This is how we are working through this to get an idea, to have that basic framework, and then be able to be flexible and work with that as we are going. So here we go. We're going to be reverse engineering what you want to do for 2017. So the first thing you need to do is set your goals. Figure out everything you want to accomplish, those great big giant things that you want to do. I want you to write those down. We need to make a list of everything that is important to you for 2017. So what are your big goals? Do you want to do a certain number of book signings? Do you want to put out 2 new books? Or do you want to write 2 new books? Do you want to query a specific publisher? Do you want to start a street team? What is it that you want to do? Make a list. I want those big things on a list. Now I want you to take that list and we're going to separate it out because you have a lot of big goals. And if you are trying to strategize all of these goals at the same time, it is not going to work well for you. I want these separate. So if you have a notebook and you're writing this in a notebook, pull out your paper and write one thing per page, because we're going to reverse engineer this and we're going to break it down and figure out what it is that you need. So one title or one topic per page so that we have room to work. Now, if you want your master list, that's fine, but make sure you break it down too, because I don't want you to get overwhelmed, and I don't want you to get confused, and I don't want things to get messy on your workspace, whether you are working in a Word document or you are working on a notebook or a piece of paper. Keep everything separate. So once we have our big goals set, we are then going to start our reverse engineering of this. So we need to break this into pieces. So take the one topic, and you're going to do this all one at a time. So if you want to strategize your street team, I want you to break that down. Just that by itself. Then I want you to move on to your newsletter and what you're going to be doing for that. And then I want you to move on to what you're going to be writing for a book this year. I want all of these separate, and I want you to do these at separate times. This is not simultaneous because I don't want you to get confused or overwhelmed. And once you figure out your process, it's going to make it a lot easier too. So once you have that process figured out for one, you can kind of replicate it for the others. So we've set our goals. We're going to break it down. Step 2 is deciding your pieces. So think this through. What is important? What are these key elements to creating that big goal? Well, with your newsletter, what do you have to do? What do you have to do to accomplish what you want? What is your goal with your newsletter? Break it down into the pieces. What does it require? You learning how to use your email service provider? Does it require you figuring out how to get people onto your newsletter? Does it require you coming up with content to put out in your newsletter? Break it down into those pieces. Once you have that figured out into pieces, into those big chunks to make that big goal, I want you to break it down even further in step 3, which is breaking down the parts to the pieces. So we've got your big goal of your newsletter, and then we've got those little steps that you have to do in order to create a good newsletter. Then I want you to break those down. What do you have to do to accomplish each of those pieces? Well, with your newsletter, you are dealing with learning your program. What do you have to do to learn your program to send out those emails? Do you need to study within the email service provider? Do you need to take a course like Clickworthy Newsletters for Authors? Do you need to talk to a friend who knows what they're doing? Do you need to find some kind of blog write-up about how to do it? What is it that you need to do? Break it down into those parts. Each of your pieces has multiple parts, and I want you to list all of those because that tells you what you're going to have to do. Maybe you're making your street team and you want to break that down. So you need to create your Facebook page. You need to figure out how you're going to get fans in there. Then you're going to need to figure out what you're going to do within that. Then you need to figure out within your group how often you're going to be posting, what type of content you're going to be posting, what your people are going to need to do within the street team. What do they have to do to stay there? Are they just there to be fans? Are they actually working for you? What is it that you want? Break it down into those parts so you know each and every piece that goes into it. Now we need to talk about step 4. And I know we're going fast here. That's because we're keeping this episode short. Number 4 is going to be figuring out what you must do to get there and what will help you get there. So we touched on this a little bit. We talked a little bit about this because I was just full speed ahead on this. So I touched on this in the last step. But I want you to really break it down. So now that you've got your big idea, the parts to your idea, or the pieces to your idea, and then the parts to the pieces, now we need to figure out what you need to do to get there. So you know what you have to do, but how do you get there? Well, that might mean studying, or that might mean buying a course and learning something. That might mean sitting down and taking the time to create all of your content that you are putting out. That might mean figuring out what you're going to be doing for your blog and writing out topics for all of your weeks of all of your months for the year. What do you have to do to get there? So what is it that you need? Maybe you can do this on your own. Maybe this is something that you are required to do on your own, but maybe you need a little bit of help. So sit down and figure out what it is that you need. Once you figure out what you need and how to get there, that's going to help you so much. So break it down for me. I want you to be very, very specific. If you do not know how to run a newsletter effectively and efficiently, please study. I need you to talk to people who are doing really well. I need you to look up articles on how to do this. I need you to take courses on how to do this. And I know sometimes this requires time and sometimes this requires money. But if your goal is to create a really amazing newsletter for your fans that is going to get them to come back to you time and time again and have that constant communication with you that's reliable and effective, you have to put the time and effort into it. Yeah, I know there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot you have to study, and sometimes that's going to require your time, and sometimes it's going to require your money. Is this a goal that is important to you? Here's a hint. If you're dealing with your newsletter, that is 100% essential to you. You must have a good newsletter to send out to your fans. Otherwise, there's no point in doing this. This is your one and only effective communication with them that does not get buried within social media algorithms and all of that. But I'm getting onto a soapbox. Make sure you are focused on what you need. What do you need to do? Do you need to put the time and effort into it? Do you need to put some money into it? You have to do it, and you have to plan for that. I am one of those people who loves to learn new things, and I am one of those people that likes to do it myself. So I don't necessarily like to outsource things and have other people do things for me. I like to handle it myself, and if I don't know how to do something, I am going to invest my time, and if I have to, I will invest my money into it. So I am not one to say, buy a bunch of products or do a bunch of studying on your own and then not do it myself. I take between 500 and 800 hours of classes per year. Every year since I graduated college. And I totally recommend that you put the effort and time into studying this yourself. Because again, this is your business. If you don't invest in your business, it's going to fail. This is what I see a lot of authors doing. They are not putting that time and effort into it. And when they don't do well. And then they wonder why their books aren't selling, why they can't make a living at this, why they can't do this, that, and the other thing. It's because they're not prioritizing their business. They're just expecting other people to do it for them. And guess what? You know, because we've talked about this before, that's not the way it works. You are in charge of you. You are in charge of marketing your brand. If you're working with a publisher, they're in charge of marketing your books, not your brand. You are in charge of marketing your books and your brand. You are in charge of you, so you have to put that effort into it. So what is it that you need? Do you need to study? Find some free education. Hang out with me at Reading Transforms. Most of my stuff is free. You can totally find so very much within Reading Transforms and within our connections, because we do things like RTTV and Young Adult Edition, and we put out our resource articles and our training videos and all sorts of free things within Reading Transforms. So hang out with us. Free stuff. But we also do things that are more in-depth, that are step-by-step. We teach you click for click what you should be doing in our paid programs, and you can go through those courses as well. And you don't have to work with just me. There are lots of things out there that can get you on the right track for your business. So take the time to invest in this, really study it, and see if it's going to work for you, because it is so important that you are investing into your business and what you are doing. So step 4 here is breaking down what you must do to get there and what you will need to help you get there. Figure that out, write it all down. At this point, your page is going to be very full, because remember, we've got our big idea, we've got our pieces, we've got our parts to our pieces, and now the things that we need to do to get there, to accomplish all of those things. Step 5 is going to be to time frame it. So take everything that's on that page, everything that you've written out, everything that you've gone through, everything that you've decided you need to accomplish these big goals. And I want you to go through and on the page, mark every single thing, how long it's going to take. So how long is it going to take you to set up a Facebook page? Maybe you want to take a day for that. Maybe you want to take a week for that. How long is it going to take you to figure out the rules for the Facebook page street team that you're creating? Write down how long you want to plan for that. And it's always better to be cautious. So yes, you could knock out your street team rules in an hour, but I want you to plan for a couple of days just so that you can think through it and revise it, because you know you're going to change your mind and you're going to tweak things as you go. And I want you to plan extra time, because if you do not plan enough time and you are on a schedule to get something accomplished and you just don't have the time planned in there, things are going to fall apart. But if you plan extra time and you get it done in a shorter amount of time, that just means you have a little extra time you can work on something else. Maybe you go out and you've earned yourself a coffee, you hang out at Starbucks and you do something fun for an hour. Or maybe you start the next part early so you finish early, and then when you do everything else early, you just get stuff done a week in advance. I want you to spend as much time as you need to get things accomplished, and I really want you to take that into consideration when you're planning your time frame. So give yourself a little bit of wiggle room, a little bit of extra space. I know that there are going to be some things you want to accomplish quickly. Maybe you want to get your big project done in a week. I want you to give yourself a little bit of space in case something happens, because you know, if you've been hanging out with us in RTTV, that sometimes things that are unexpected come up. Sometimes we have emergencies. Sometimes we have situations we did not plan for. I want you to give yourself that cushion room so that you're not panicking when the time comes to have it done. Give yourself the extra space, because it's good for your mental health. It's good for your soul to have that extra time, because you're not rushing. You don't feel like you're failing. You don't feel like this one thing came up and now you're so far behind you'll never get ahead. I want you to give yourself cushion room. So time frame it out. Step 5 is all about time framing what you are doing, and write that out. I want to see that visibly on your page, on your Word document. I want to see the time you want to invest in it. And again, cushion time. Make sure you have it. So then the 6th step, the final thing I want to talk about in this episode of RTTV, is going to be getting it on the calendar. So I want you, I don't care if it's a digital calendar, I don't care if you are using some kind of Google thing, I don't care if you're using Asana, I don't care if you're using a paper calendar or a journal or a planner or something like that. I want you to write it down. So get your year. Get it in front of you and start planning this out, because you have those big goals and you don't necessarily want them to overlap. So you don't want to plan all these big things and then try to accomplish all of those big things in January. I want you to figure out when it's going to fit into your schedule. So take your schedule, mark down anything that you are obligated to do for your outside of business life. So if you're going on a vacation, mark it down. If you have something for your day job, mark it down. If you have something for your kids, mark that down. I want the things that cannot be moved, cannot be changed, to be marked down first, because you are planning this business stuff around the other stuff that you cannot move. Now, I'm not saying to do that around silly things, like if it's something that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, you can move that. That's okay. I'm just talking about those concrete things. Like if you know you're going on vacation, you will be on a plane, you will be flying somewhere, you will be out of town for this week. I want you to get that down there, because you can't move that. If you have a work obligation, or if you have publishing deadlines, I want you to get those down there. Those need to be on there so that you can work everything else around that. Once you know these things that you can't move, you can then schedule the rest of your stuff around that, so that you are planning for the appropriate amount of time to get it done by when you need it. So maybe you want your street team done by March, but you have something in February. So you know you're coming up on it in March, so you're going to want to get a lot of that done in January, so that your February thing that is dedicated time there does not affect it, and you still meet your March deadline. I want you to make sure that you have everything concrete down so you can fit it around it. Now, maybe that means you will have a shorter time span to create your newsletter welcome sequence that you were doing. You just have to be aware of that, and then you have to plan for it. Maybe that means you skip going to Starbucks one day. Or maybe that means you don't get to go to the bookstore and hang out with your best friend for 3 hours, and you have to cut it down to an hour, or you have to skip it for that week so that you can fit in your business stuff. Make sure that you are planning for what you need to do to accomplish what you need to do in your author brand, your business. So mark everything down on the calendar and space it out. You do not want to be doing all of your big things at the same time. You want to have that space and that freedom so that you can breathe and you don't feel like you're suffocating and you don't feel like you're overworked, and for heaven's sakes, you don't burn out. I need you to be very, very careful about what you are doing and how much you are doing. Now, that does not mean I want you to take the slow road on everything. Please don't be very, very slow and time-consuming as you're doing the different things for your business, because then you'll never get anything accomplished. I want you to work and work hard on this. I want you to put all of your effort into it, and I want you to have dedicated time to work on your author brand. That means your marketing, your writing, that means your social media strategy, that means talking to your fans, that means doing interviews, that means doing book signings, that means doing the things that you have to do to promote your author business. I want you to get your books out there, and I want you to get in front of fans, and you have to have dedicated time for that. So many times I hear my authors saying, but I don't have time to be on social media. But I don't have time to go to these events. But I don't have time because I don't even have time to write because I have so much else going on in my life. Well, if that's the attitude you're taking, you're not going to succeed. You have to plan it into your schedule. So I need you to have dedicated time each and every week to be working on your business. And that means your social media. That means your newsletter. That means your blog. That means updating your website. That means doing book events and signings. That means doing interviews. That means getting on to shows like RTTV or Young Adult Edition. That means doing radio interviews. I need you to invest the time into it. Even if it's just a handful of hours every week, you have to have that dedicated time. Because if you do not have that dedicated time scheduled into your schedule, it's never going to happen. So I've been teaching a lot of courses lately, a lot of free master classes. We've been doing webinars on blogging and newsletters and some amazing things. And a lot of what I talk about is scheduling that time into your plan for your life, for your week, for your month. I need you to have that dedicated time, because if you don't, you're never going to do it. Just like you have a dedicated time for dinner each and every night to make sure that you and your family are fed, I need you to specify time within your schedule to be working on your brand, your author business, your books, your marketing. You can afford a little bit of time in your schedule. Maybe that means you have to change your schedule a little bit. It's okay if you don't go for coffee every single day. It's okay if you get up an hour early to write. And shout out, because I have a couple of authors who work full-time jobs, have families, do other things, and they get themselves up and out of bed an hour early so that they can write every single day. Or they stay up late an hour every single night to make sure that they are writing and they have the time for that. Or they skip their lunch break. They eat while they work, and they don't just hang out on Facebook. They work through their lunch break. Shout out to those people, because yeah, you've got a busy life, but you are making the time, and you deserve to be recognized for that, because you have figured out that if you do not have this dedicated time, nothing will get done. And you know what? These people, I'm watching people right now, and some people are complaining that they don't have time, and they are not making the time, and they are not making the effort, and they're just kind of breezing along. They're just doing okay. And then I see these people who are rocking it out and making the time and making the effort. Even if it puts them out a little bit, they are making the time to invest into their writing world, their book world, and their marketing world. And they are succeeding far more than the people who are just kind of expecting it to be done for them. So here we go. Let's go over this one more time. And then I'm going to tell you about the really cool thing that I mentioned at the beginning. The first thing you need to do is set your goals. Decide those big picture items, write them all down, get them on your pages, and leave space to start writing. Then I want you to decide your pieces. Your pieces are the things you're breaking down into that big picture to figure out how to accomplish that. Then I want you to break down those pieces into their parts. What do you have to do to accomplish this piece? What do you have to do to accomplish this piece? What do you have to do to accomplish this piece? And what do you have to do to accomplish this piece? Step 4 is figuring out what you must do to get there and what is going to help you get there. So what do you need to do? How much time do you need to invest? What type of things do you need to do? List out the things that you need to do, and then talk to me about what do you need to do to get there. So do you need some kind of extra help to do it? Or can you do it yourself? Or can you outsource it? What is it that you need? What type of things do you need to accomplish those parts to the pieces to the whole? And I didn't mention that, but you can outsource things too. If you don't know how to do something, if you can't handle something, or if you do not have the time, ability, or desire to learn something, you can outsource it. That means pay somebody to do it. So if that's totally an option, write that down if you need to. The 5th thing is to time frame it. So figure out how much time it's going to take, hours, days, weeks, months. Please don't take more than a couple of months, but figure out what you need to do. and when you need to do it. And some of these things are going to be seasonal too. So if you've got big ideas, some of them are going to be seasonal. Book signing season, holidays. So make sure that as we move on to step 6 with our calendar, you are scheduling it in at that point. So step 6, calendar, write it down. I don't care what program you use. If it's digital, if it's paper, if it's a planner, get it in front of you where you can reference it frequently. Get yourself in there and break things down so that you know when to do each and every step. And then check it off, mark it off, cross it off, highlight it, do what you have to do. If you are writing it on a calendar, use different colors so that you don't get confused with what you're doing if you're working on multiple projects at once, so that you get everything accomplished on your list. Remember, our whole goal with this is to accomplish your big picture ideas. And I want you to focus on those big things. So what is the main, let's say 5 things you want to do in 2017? Work on those first. Then we can move on to the also important but not the big dream things. So what are those practical things you have to get done, but maybe isn't the biggest, most important thing to you, that's not your heart cry? Figure out what you need to do in 2017. Write it down, break it down into pieces, reverse engineer what you have to do to accomplish it, and then make it happen. Okay, so this all sounds great. We've got that basic foundation, but now we need to talk a little bit about what I have for you. I am really, really, really excited about this because this is going to be so good. This is going to be so good. I have a course for you. This course is going to break down 14 of the main things that you need to focus on for 2017. That's 14 different things. We're going to be breaking down your book writing and book marketing. We're going to be talking about your goals for Twitter and social media and Instagram stories and Snapchat and Facebook. We're going to be talking about 14 different things that are going to be essential to your author brand in 2017, and we're going to break it down together. So if you have taken any of my courses, you know I like to do these really, really cool things within my courses, and I break everything down for you, and it's all right there for you. And I usually do a really cool webinar before it, and I give you a whole bunch of free information, and then if you want the step-by-step, you can take that, and it's just amazing. It's amazing. My courses have gone over so well in the last 2 months since I started doing them in this particular format. And each and every day it's a little different. So for this one, normally for my courses, you would get the entire course and you could watch it at your own pace and do your own thing with it. For this particular course, this is going to be a 2-week course. So every day for 2 weeks, I am giving you a brand new video on one of those 14 topics. And after the 2 weeks, these videos go away. So you have to do this with me. And it doesn't matter when in the day you are going to do it. You just have to make the effort to do it during that day. So on the first day, we're going to be talking about one of those topics. Sometime during that day, check in and watch that video. It's going to be a short video. It's only going to be a couple minutes long. And it's going to help you figure out what you need to be focusing on for whatever that topic is. So I'm not going to give it away because I totally could do it right now, but I'm not going to. And we're going to break down what you need to be thinking about, and that's going to help you figure out what your goals are for that particular topic in 2017. And then you can figure out from there what you need to break it into and then how you need to accomplish it. So I hope you will join me. It is a 2-week course. And because this is so important, because this is, bringing stuff to the book world, bringing this information to you guys and building you up as authors is really important to me. And creating a community of authors that really invest into the book world and raise up the book world and really raise up other authors, that is so close to me. That is so important to me. That's my heart cry. I really, really, really want to make you guys better at what you're doing so that you are making more money and you are getting new fans and you are creating this community where we all succeed more and we succeed better because we're all in it together. So because I want you guys to have an amazing 2017 and because I want you guys to be so very good and so focused on this, and I want you to do so well in 2017 and have a really good start, I am giving you this 14 video course for free. I want to give this to you so that we can do this together. We're going to go through this. We're going to figure out what we need to do for author brands in 2017. And I'm not giving you everything away. If this were one of my real courses, I would step by step tell you, this is what you need to be focusing on for 2017. Here are your bullet points. Here's what you need to do. Here are all the steps. This is everything you need to do. This is not nearly as in-depth as my real courses. This is going to be an overview, and this is 100% to jog your thoughts and make you figure out what you need. So I'm not doing this for you. I'm just giving you here's the information you need. Here's what you need to be thinking about. What are we going to be thinking about? How are we going to be breaking this down? Okay, let's do this. And you have to do it for you, just like I have to do it for me. So I'm not doing this for you. I'm just getting you in the right frame of mind. We're going through this together, and I'm giving you the ability to do it for yourself. So it is a little bit different. It is not nearly in-depth, but a course like this would start at $200 if I were actually charging for this, because there really is a lot to it. But I'm giving you all sorts of really great tools to be using to figure out your 2017. So I do hope that you will join me for that. I'm going to stop for a second. I'm going to toss up all the information you need on this course. I hope that you will be joining me for this, because this is going to be so valuable and so important to your author marketing for next year. So here we go. This is what we're working on. Okay, so now that you've seen that, I hope you'll join me for that. It's going to be great. Remember, it is only 2 weeks long, so you cannot be dawdling as we're doing this. If you miss it, you miss it. I can't help you. It's only going to be 2 weeks long. But again, short videos, one a day. You can totally make the time to watch a couple-minute video and then do the work. Or take notes and do the work when you're on Christmas break. You have that option. Just make sure you're taking the notes that you need. Videos are only going to be up for 2 weeks, so make sure you get on this as it comes up, because it's important. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to take some questions, because I know that I'm seeing some within the chat room here about what we talked about today. So go ahead, pop those over, and I will see you on the other side of the question screen. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look at your questions and see what we are talking about. How do I keep my calendar organized when I have so many things that I am working on? Good question. And we touched on this a little bit as I was chatting. The key here is going to be to stay very organized in a way that works for you. So we talked about color coding, which is something I really like to have you guys do. I recommend it for you guys. I tend not to do it for myself, but I'm very strange with the way I organize things. So color coding is great. You can use different colored Sharpies or markers or gel pens or colored pencils or whatever it is you have to do to get that color coded. And then you can color code it by either your projects or by different topics. So you could go by each and every project having a different color, or you could say blog related is one color, social media related is another color, newsletter related is another color, publishing related is another color, like that. So whichever works for you, whatever makes sense for you. You can also do something like write everything in the same colored ink and then highlight it with a highlighter or a marker in those different colors if you don't want a bunch of different colored writing. So box it out if you need to. You can also do things like keeping it digital. I'm a big fan of digital stuff. And if you write it on paper, you're also going to want to put it in your phone or on some kind of calendar digitally so that you can have access to it whenever you need it. When you're not in the house, it's going to save you a lot of time and effort and trouble and worrying if you're trying to plan things. I recommend using things like Asana. Asana is a great program. You've heard me talk about it before. It's really for working within teams. But you can definitely use it for yourself if that is something that you want. I sometimes use Asana. I also use index cards a lot, so maybe you don't want to listen to me. I have piles of index cards with stuff. So, but Asana is great. Check it out, asana.com. And you can look at your projects. You can look at your calendar. You can look at the different pieces of your project. If you are working with people, you can assign different tasks to different people, or you can figure out how to assign it to different projects, and you make one for each of those, whatever you want to do. So it's a great resource. Check that out. Or you can use something like a Google Calendar or something. How many parts should we have to each piece? Ha, you're funny. Okay, so this is going to be different depending on what you're doing. I can't really give you an answer on this one. This really is going to be you sitting down, figuring out what the pieces are to your big picture, and then figuring out how many parts it's going to take to make that happen. What do you have to do? So some of them might have 2 pieces. Some of them might have 15 pieces. It just depends on how specific you're getting and what is really going to go into it and how much work you're putting into it. So honestly, if it's short, that's fine. I would caution you to really dig deep and really break things down. So you might have a broader part to this that you could break down even further. Break it down as much as you can. I want this in the smallest parts possible so that you know just how much work you're doing, you can schedule it out better, and you know how much time you have to be investing into this and how much effort is going to go into it. So break it down as far as you can and run with that. What am I going to need to focus on for Twitter for 2017? Well, I could answer this now, but it's one of my videos. So I definitely want you to check out that 2-week course. There is going to be a dedicated day for Twitter. We're going to be talking about the main things you need to be talking about and worrying about and thinking about for Twitter for 2017. So there are definitely some things that we're going to be chatting about and things that are going to help you as you are planning your Twitter strategy for 2017. So check out the course for that because that's really going to help. I need to learn more about my newsletter. I have one, but it is not going so well. Where do I find a resource for that? Well, I mean, I mentioned Clickworthy newsletters for authors. We just released that. That went really, really well. I've had a lot of really good feedback for that. So you can totally look at Clickworthy newsletters for authors. You can also check out Reading Transforms. We have other newsletter resources. Sometimes we put out our free masterclass newsletter for authors. And other people talk about newsletters too. So you can look at different business professionals and then apply it to your author newsletter. You can find articles and resources and all sorts of things on the internet you can find about that. You just have to look for it. And then sometimes you're going to find resources that are not specific to your author world. And you just have to take what they're saying and apply it to your author world. So yes, it takes an extra step. You have to be able to process how that works for you. But that's okay, as long as it works for you. And so I know some people cannot do that. I have friends who cannot do that. They cannot see something in the context of themselves if it's not within the context of themselves. And if you can't do that, find one specific to being an author. We've got them here. Other people have them, I'm sure. I don't actually know who else does it. I definitely do. You can hang out with me for that. Or you can figure out other things and then figure out how to apply it to you. So there's lots of options, and there's a lot of really important things for your newsletter. So that is one of those things. If you have to decide between courses and lessons and tutorials and things like that, that is one of the things that should be priority for you, because your newsletter, I can't even tell you how important it is. It is so important. It is far more important than your social media. I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay, let's do our last one. Oh, and that actually kind of works hand in hand with what we were talking about. We're going to be talking about how to find resources. So yes, you want resources, you need resources. Resources are going to be everything to you because they are going to teach you what you need to know and help you with what you do not know. So where do you find these? How do you get your hands on these? And how do you make them beneficial to you? Well, honestly, this is an entirely different lesson, and I might have to think about something like this for 2017. But real quick, let's just talk about some resources. So there are different people, industry leaders, who put out resources. If you hang out with Reading Transforms, I put them out every single week. A lot. I put them out a lot every single week. So we've got RTTV, which is here. You're hanging out with me now. That is going to be so beneficial to you because it's not just me teaching. I am bringing on my author friends, my editor friends, my lawyer friends, anything that could have to do with your author journey. I bring them on to teach you. And actually in 2 weeks, we've got an amazing, no, not 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I think it's 3 weeks. 2 or 3 weeks. Beginning of December. The beginning of December, we have Anna Marie Evans coming back. She is going to be teaching us about writing a synopsis. So last time she was here, we talked all about how to query your book, whether you are working with a publisher or you are sending it to the publisher you're already working with or sending it to an agent. We talked all about that. And we had specific requests for people wanting more information on writing a synopsis and everything that goes into it, because we learned a lot of things that we didn't actually know about writing a synopsis in that last episode. And we want to bring you an even more in-depth look at that within this next episode. So she's coming on soon. You have to check it out. So you can hang out with Reading Transforms. You can hang out with RTTV. You know, I put out a ton of stuff on our YouTube channel, and I put a ton of stuff out on our resource blog that you can get your hands on for free. You can also hang out with different authors who are very accomplished within the book world. They no, I take that back. Some of them oftentimes put out really great resources. So we've got a couple of people who have come on the show before and brought some of the resources that they are putting out there, like Sherry Ficklin came on the show. She talked all about putting on a book event, so how to get asked back to a book signing. But she frequently puts out information to help other authors on her blog, and she puts that out on a pretty regular basis to be helpful to you. And I know that there are other authors who frequently put out information to be helpful to you. And there are Facebook groups, and there are blogs, and there are magazines, and then there's the industry people. So we've got editors, and we've got acquisitions people, we've got agents, we've got, well, actually, I don't think publishers do. I don't know of many publishers that put out information, but agents and things like that, they're always constantly putting out new information to help you within your author journey. And sometimes it's going to be very specific to what they do. So if you are an author who is already published, who has an agent, or who has a specific publisher you're working with, or you are self-published, you may not need an agent's information that they are putting out there, those resources that they are creating, because it doesn't affect you, it doesn't apply to you, and that's okay. But some of them will be putting out information that is applicable to you, and you want to get your hands on that. So you have to identify the key players. Who is out there putting out information? Who is creating resources? Who's making tutorials? Who is doing interviews? Look for those people who are making a difference within the industry and start following them. They're going to put things out on their social media, on their Twitter, on their Facebook. They're going to put things out on their blog that will be helpful to you. And sometimes these people are going to be very frequent and very dependable about it. So Reading Transforms, we are very frequent, we are very dependable. You know when RTTV is going to be. You know when our newsletters are going to go out. You know when we are putting out new things, and you can always jump into our community, or you can jump into our different pages, because I am constantly updating you on social media changes and the algorithm changes and platform additions and upgrades and all sorts of things. So you have an idea of when you can find my information, but you are also getting things in real time as things happen. Some people just are kind of hit and miss, and you just kind of get what you get when you get it. So look for people who are making a difference, who are actively engaged in putting out new information for you, and then start following them. It's okay to ask questions. I love questions. If you write on our YouTube page, or you write on our blog, or you email me, I love getting those questions, and I love doing videos for you. I love answering those. I love writing emails back to you. So it's okay to reach out to them. Now, if they have said they don't want to be reached out to, or, for example, if they are an agent, you probably don't want to be reaching out to them, because that will get on their nerves, because they're there to do business. But you can leave a question on their blog. Just don't be emailing them. So it's okay to reach out to people. Just do it in the right format. For me, my job is to give you this content and to give you these resources so you can reach out to me in any way, shape, and form. But for an agent, their job is to get and acquire new books and new people to be writing these books. So if you are in their inboxes, they're not going to like you. If you're leaving a question on their blog, they'll probably like you, because that gives them a little bit of a higher standing within their blog. So just do it in the right format. And so really you can find resources anywhere. Check for the industry leaders. Ask your friends. Ask your author friends. Who are you going to for this? I have a question about this. Who do you recommend that I look at? What courses do you recommend that I take? Where have you found this really great article about this? When you ask your friends, if they have answers, they're very likely to share that with you and point you in the right direction. And then you can start pointing people in the right direction too. So when you find something that's really good, I want you to be sharing this. I want you to be talking about this. I want you to be posting about this on Twitter. Get the information out there, because we are trying to raise up the industry through this. I'm going to stop now, because goodness knows I could talk about this forever. And again, this will probably be a really great episode for 2017. So I will have to add that to our list. I hope that you will be joining me for our 2-week course. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited for this. I cannot wait to get started with you and really plan out 2017 for you and me. I'm going to be doing it right along with you. You will not see my work, but I am doing it right along with you. So it's going to be fantastic. We're going to make 2017 really, really great. Next week, we are taking the week off because it is Thanksgiving weekend and we all have family stuff going on. At that point, after Thanksgiving and family and Black Friday, we're just going to need a break. And I forgot there, Gilmore Girls is coming out. So pretty much Friday's going to be shopping day and Gilmore Girls day. So I will see you on Saturdays when I will see you. So next Sunday is going to be off for us. We're not coming on live. And then at that point that's what it is. We're going to have Anna Marie Evans the next week. She's going to be on. And then we've got one more show before the end of 2016 for RTTV. It's going to be a really good one. I cannot wait to tell you about it, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut until then. So thank you so much for joining me. If you've totally loved this, make sure you are jumping on to our community, which is community.readingtransforms.com. And that will give you access to our closed Facebook group where I'm dropping knowledge on social media strategy and platform updates and things that you could be doing within your author brand and marketing that are really going to help you this year, next year, and always. You can also jump on to shownotes.readingtransforms.com. That will give you access to our show notes newsletter. So every single week after the show, the next day I send out links to the videos for the rebroadcast, and then I get deeper in touch with what we talked about during that week. So the stuff we talked about today, I'm going to be getting in depth with next. Wow. So the things we talked about today, I'm going to be getting in depth with within this newsletter. It's going to go out tomorrow for you. I even have a special bonus for you that is going to help you break down these 6 steps that we talked about today so that you are really, really ready to be jumping into this course with me. So it's going to be awesome. Make sure you jump onto shownotes.readingtransforms.com. I am clearly losing my voice, so I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, guys. There's lots of other things I could tell you, but clearly my throat's done. So thank you for hanging out. I truly appreciate it. I want you guys to stay inspired this week and join me for this 2-week course that is totally free to you to plan your 2017. Before we go, I have just a couple things I want you to remember. Stay inspired.
Hey authors, I know that marketing your book can be so confusing, especially when you don't have a big budget to work with, but I want you to know that there are ways that you can market your book without costing you a cent. I have come up with a list of 20 totally cost-free marketing ideas that you can implement into your marketing strategy and see the same great results that my own authors have seen when they implemented it into their marketing plan. You can get your very own totally free copy of how to market your book creatively and effectively even when you're flat broke if you jump on to www.readingtransforms.com. Up near the top, you're going to see a spot where you can download it completely for free. It is my gift to you. I hope that you take this PDF and you use it in your marketing strategy and see incredible results, and I can't wait to see what you do with it. I'm KM Robinson of KM Robinson Photography and Reading Transforms. Stay inspired. Do you have a new book releasing soon? Do you want to create a unique experience for your fans on your book release day? Do you want to interact with your fans, celebrate your book, and be the talk of the industry? Book launch live events bring all this and more right into your grasp. Rita Award winner and New York Times bestselling author Pintip Dunn called it the highlight of my release day. Dying to find out if this is for you? Visit booklaunchlive.readingtransforms.com for more info and see if this is the perfect thing for your release day. Do you ever feel like you're alone in the book world? When the conferences die down and you're sitting in front of your computer alone writing your next manuscript, things can seem very isolated. But they don't have to be. Do you ever feel like social media changes are getting the better of you? Do you feel like you need support that you just don't have? You don't have to be on your own trying to solve the algorithms. Join the Reading Transforms community for a group of authors and book world professionals going through the same things as you. Connect and support one another. Hear from industry leaders on technology changes, and get the latest updates on RTTV, the weekly live broadcast that teaches you to market your books and brand yourself more efficiently and creatively. Get the community and support that you've been longing for, and surround yourself with authors just like you. We'll see you there.